Hi, so I am here with Kevin Kennedy, who is starring as Dennis Dupree in Rock of Ages, coming to the Manchester Opera House from the 14th to the 18th of March. Now, obviously, Kevin surely needs no introduction. It's Curly Watts, people, but obviously that is just one part of his very successful career. He's also done loads on stage, including loads of musicals, many of which I've seen you in before, such as Rock of Ages, Chicago, Rocky Horror, Chitty Bang Bang. I mean, the list just goes on, and he is here with us at Manchester Theatres. So thank you so much for chatting with us, Kevin.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's always a joy to speak to the people from my hometown.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to ask before we do anything else. This is called Rock of Ages, the Farewell Tour. Please tell me that this is kind of some sort of Ross and Rachel, we were on a break, and it is just a break. It will be coming back to us at some point, will it?
I don't know, actually, to be honest. I mean, it was always going to end, but we had the pandemic in the middle. So it should have ended about 2 years ago. I left anyway to go and do something else. And then when the opportunity came back up to finish it off what I'd started, I really don't know. I think they'll probably put it for a while. I don't think it'll be the last production.
Yeah, surely not. Surely not. I mean, it's incredible. So for those who might not know, Rock of Ages, it's introduced to us by a character called Lonnie, who works in the Bourbon bar, which is owned by your character Dennis, and it's basically getting ready to be demolished. So they enlist Stacey Jacks, this huge rock star, to come and do his farewell gig to try and generate some money, but to keep it open. But there's so much more to it than that. So what else can you tell us about the story?
It's loosely based on the Viper Rooms in Los Angeles, which spookily enough had the same. It's now a Foot Locker, I think. So it's a story of how they saved this rock club from the business world. Entwined with that is three love stories, basically. Some are all very unusual love stories as well, and it's a very fun script. It is not as a piece, not worthy or deep. It's just a lot of fun. It's the perfect antidote for what we've all been going through. It's just fun. You know, there's no deep message. There's no deep thinking involved. It's just a scantily clad men and women. A very funny script, punctuated by these 80s bangers, the ones that you sing in your shower that you don't really want to know about, or in your car. We built this city on rock and roll, so forth and so forth. You know, and it's not worthy. It's not a deep thinker. It's just 2 hours of escapism and great fun, and a very honest production. We referenced ourselves, take the mickey out of ourselves, which is something which is in short supply these days.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, there are these sort of other characters in there. There's these other love stories, and that it's one of, I mean, there's so much to love, but it's one of the things that I love about it, because I don't think there's any secondary characters. I think each of them has got their own storyline in itself, making it this brilliant ensemble piece.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And then your character has obviously got this huge backstory. He's lived this epic life. So what can you tell us about Dennis?
Well, Dennis is the master of extreme. He doesn't do anything by half, whether it's his women, his men, his drugs, his rock and roll. Everything is 100% of nothing at all, and it's a joy and very liberating to these, because I can pretty much get away with anything, and I'm living the life that really I can't do anymore. So I enjoy that. And he's very knowledgeable. He's got a great knowledge of rock and roll and what works, what doesn't work. And his whole livelihood is under threat, and that's where jeopardy comes in. And between him and Lonnie and the help of a few others, they managed to. I don't want to give say, do I really?
No, make people come and watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously you've played Dennis before. This isn't your first time at the rodeo with him. And not just on this tour either. So have you kind of, from when you first played him to like what you're doing with him now, because the joy of theatre is that no two performances are exactly the same, have you been able to add like little nuggets and little bits and pieces as you've gone along with him?
I think if you play a role for a length of time, especially you pick up on what the audience want. You pick up on what the audience like through the performances over a length of time, and certainly changed from the first time I played him, which was 2008, and that's absolutely fine within the perimeters of the show, obviously, because that's what the art is. That's what the art is, to pick up on different parts of the cast. Plus, we have new cast members coming in, and when they do what I do on stage, then that's where you get the chemistry, and things start to change and things start to develop. Sometimes maybe in the wrong direction, sometimes the right direction. But that's the beauty of theatre. That's the art of taking it off the page and making it live. And if you've got another actor doing something, then and you go along with that, that's when it becomes very.
Yeah, it develops into who knows what. Yeah, that's the joy of it.
Yeah.
So, like you've already mentioned these songs. It's like someone's created a playlist just for me and turned it into a musical. These songs are epic. And obviously you're no stranger to music either, being in the Smiths and Bunch of Thieves and having a solo career. So do you kind of miss the music industry, or do you much prefer marrying it up with acting and doing it on stage in a different art form?
I've got the best of both worlds, because I get to sing massive nailed on hits to a live audience without all the hassle of what the music industry can do to you, without promoters, and get the satisfaction of that you might not get being in the music industry and doing your own stuff, because every one of these songs is timeless and a classic. So I get to do all that, but without the hassle of signed to a record company and dancing to their tune or dancing to someone else's tune.
Yeah. And speaking of dancing to someone else's tune, how do you like the songs in this? So obviously you're not in every number. How do you stop yourself? I'd be wanting to run on stage and join in the party with all of the other songs that I'm not. I'd be like I want to be in that one. Is it difficult, or is that just kind of when you do need that moment backstage to be like costume changing or just breathing? Or
yeah, well, it's discipline, so you can't go barging in on someone else's number. And because we've been doing it for such a long time, it's one of the weird ones. You get a favourite for a week, where you stop what you're doing and have a little boogie, and then that might last a month, and then the following month you get another tune in the show that becomes your favourite, which is again absolutely natural.
Yeah.
Some that you just never want to hear again for a while. Which that's not being disrespectful or rude to the show or the people in it. It's just that it's normal. It's human nature. You think, I can't hear that. But then again, having said that, 2 months later, that's your favourite again. So I mean, it's quite a fast show as well. You don't really have time. It's very quick. Once it gets like a train, once it starts, you can't stop it. It is frantic backstage because you're running around all over the place, ready for the next scene, and it's just great fun.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to ask someone this question who is a musician in their own right, and who performs on stage in musicals or something like that. Do you ever fancy, or would you ever, instead of performing as the cast, perform as part of the band? Because obviously there's live musicians on stage. Do you ever fancy doing that side of it as well?
Well, to be honest, our musicians are second to none. They're amazing. And I think me personally, will be frightened to death going, because this stuff is not easy. You know, this rock stuff, and I watch them play it, and it's rock music. It's like country music. You may only have 3 chords, but if it's played badly, then it sounds bad.
Yeah.
You know, with rock music, played badly, noise. But this is almost choreographed, and it's balanced between one solo, another solo. It has levels, and I think far too demanding for me.
The audience with Rock of Ages, obviously the cast do break that fourth wall quite a lot throughout the play and talk directly to the audience. Has this kind of ever given an not necessarily intentional invitation to audiences to heckle, to shout things out, or have there been any kind of like, what just happened kind of moments?
Very much in the style of Shakespeare Globe. In that kind of, the audience gets so involved in it, and I quite like that. I quite like the mayhem of that. I quite like that, the way it used to be. Whereas in Shakespeare's Globe, for example, if you did a brilliant scene, then they would howl, and you got to do it again. You know, there's that element of anarchy, and I like that. There. And it happens in certain venues. I mean, Manchester is always brilliant for that kind of thing, you know, because it's an event that people come to the theatre in the north, especially in the north, to enjoy it. They don't come to criticise, they just come to have a great time. In other venues, it's not that. They're very conservative and very polite, and they're still enjoying it, but they don't really get involved in that. They're very conservative about it. Up in Scotland, it's mayhem, always is, which is again good. And down here, I'm in Cornwall at the moment. Again, it's the same thing. It's like the north, chaos at times, but again, that's where it comes down to the art of theatre craft, is how to control an audience, and when to let them join in and when to stop them. It's all about theatre craft, and we have spades of it cast, so we know how to control it. And plus, we've been doing this for quite a while now, and we know when it's gonna erupt, and we know when it's gonna get funny, and it's gonna get tricky, and it's gonna get naughty and loud and chaotic. But having that is the beauty of it. This show's a cross between the Rocky Horror, Spinal Tap, and We Will Rock You.
That is a brilliant description of it. Yeah, definitely. And at least, not that anyone would want to, but even, when you get audiences getting raucous, and you sort of said that Globe back in the Shakespeare day, at least, nobody can throw any tomatoes at you because nobody's got any.
So no one's got anything, even turnips. So it doesn't really. So yeah, but I've always been a bit of an anarchist when it comes to theatre, and I quite enjoy that unknown element. So it keeps you on your toes. And again, that's when not just the audience come out, but the cast come out, but because it's been like a bit of a boxing. It's like we won that one point, but the audience got us that time, and that's fun.
Yeah, honestly, I love it. And I think, like you say, audiences, there's so much they can get from it. It's hilarious. It's got this party atmosphere. And like you say, it's not really like any kind of music. It dances to its own beat. And I think it's a brilliant one for people who who think they're not musical theatre people, because it's got this soundtrack that everybody knows and loves. And I think it's a really great musical to introduce new audiences to the theatre as well.
It's a starter musical for people who have never really seen a musical, or not that interested in seeing a musical. Every tune. It's not deep and thoughtful. It's just fun. So just come along and see it. I mean, it's 2 hours out of your life. I guarantee you enjoy parts of it. And if you don't like the show, you just have a lot of fun with the audience.
Absolutely. Definitely come along, grab your air guitar, make your way down to the Palace Theatre for Rock of Ages. It's on from the 14th to the 18th of March.
We're at the Opera, by the way.
Sorry?
We're at the Opera House.
The Opera House, yeah, the Manchester Opera House. So is that not what I said then?
No, you said the Palace.
Did I? I'm so sorry. The Opera House. Yes, do not go to the Palace. You'll be watching something entirely different and you'll miss out on all this fun.
Actually, you'll be watching on the Thursday night another Manchester legend, Jed Graham, in the story of the Dubliners. He's on Thursday night.
Yes.
Yes. So, and we've been mates for years. We played in the same band, and it's quite interesting that the fact that, because Jed's headlining at the Palace and I'm headlining the Opera House, and we've been friends for over 30 years. So I'll give him
brilliant.
That's
brilliant. I love it. I love that. Well, thank you for sticking with us through our few lovely technical issues there. I really, really appreciate it. And definitely come along and watch both shows. Why not? Why not? Thank you ever so much, and we will see you there. Thank you.